there was just a group of us in the 70s just got together and each of us put in $1,000. We probably had $5,000 or $6,000. It's a time when I didn't have $1,000, but I got it in anyway because I believed in Marion. So then I think it was probably in the early 80s is when we finally started talking about, we got to do something just for Marion. Let's try to put together something. So I think it was the city manager, Jeff Schott, myself, and we talked to George Lau, and between that three, then we pushed on. It took a couple of years, I suppose, to get it going, but then we got a sort of it was George, Jeff, and I that, mostly Jeff, I tell you, sort of tried to get some sort of bylaws or what we're about, our corporation, and so that feels so good. Then we got involved then probably as we got started then with Priority 1 in Cedar Rapids was it becomes had a seat at the board meetings on our board. So but you may remember some of the early boards. One of your CEO at Medco was
yeah, Jerry Zarotnik was on the board fairly early on, involved in that. And again, back when you look at the economy back in the days when Medco started up, I mean, your interest rates were, in the early 80s, were 18 to 20%. So people were having a difficult time figuring out how to get money, and a lot of businesses needed some help and some assistance. And I think the reason you guys got together is to help spur the economy and help the businesses in Marion.
Well, I remember, Jim, your dad was on that early board.
And I think my dad got involved simply because he felt that you can either just sit on the sidelines and let things happen, and then you don't get the progress that you really need, or you could get involved and attempt to move the Marion's economy in the direction that was positive. And I think that's been a good thing. I think Medco has done a good job with that. We've made some mistakes. If you don't try anything, you don't ever make a mistake, but you don't get anything done either.
We were pretty fortunate early on to have George Lau be our president. We didn't have an exec or anything, but George took it upon himself to move forward and do it just without an exec. That's amazing. That's one person to be so strong to do it.
It's in the right-hand pocket, the other one.
And Jerry, being busy at Vector Corp after you guys moved into town, I guess he took a leadership role. John Vernon stepped up, took a leadership role in those early years. So
I think the reason, I probably joined Medco board, I'm going to guess sometime in the 90s. And again, I've grown up like Jim, kind of a lifelong Marion kid. So I've been in Marion since 1962. So I was talking to somebody the other day that, gee, I've been in Marion 50 years now.
I know it.
But, and you think about that, that's a long time. You've seen a lot of changes, and wow, I mean, Marion's one of the most exciting cities today in the state. But I remember the reason I got involved in Medco and the chamber and organizations like that is because, I saw you and George and Bernie Cooper and your dad and others kind of giving back to the community and helping the community get stronger. And growing up in the community and being a business person, I wanted to do that same thing. To do something that I could help look back and say, things are better because I helped do something and I got involved.
that's pretty ironic. I moved here in '62, so
Did you?
been here 50 years now. So yeah, it is.
I moved here in '60.
Yeah, okay.
You guys by two.
Yeah.
I am the oldest.
You're the oldest of us.
And things really have changed. I mean,
A lot of changes.
when this is a great community. When I first moved here, the churches were all open. Everybody would come downtown on their bicycle. If you need to use the restroom, you could use the churches. You just had all kinds of activities downtown Marion that were very nice, and keeping the downtown of Marion nice, and as a good community, that's part of a citizen's responsibility. And I think that Medco's helped us do that. I think Steve was instrumental in transitioning Medco from a volunteer-only organization to an organization that actually employs people, is more active in the community. You know, before this, we kind of did it on a haphazard. We were trying, but it was a little haphazard.
Yes.
Well, that was 2006, and that's when I became board chair, and I started thinking about what we've really accomplished as a board when you look at that in some of the prior years. And I said, we really have to be able to do more. This city is going to grow, it's going to continue to grow faster, and we need to be able to do more. And so the challenge really went out to the board is we've kind of put a budget together and saying, if we're going to do more, we're going to need more money. And the way to run Medco, well, let's put it that way. Prior to 2006, Medco was being run by a person with two hats.
Yes, that's right.
So the person had to wear two hats. They were head of the Marion Chamber, and they were also the head of Medco. And so your time was split. And economic development needed more time, needed more energy, needed more resources. So the board in 2006 took on the challenge to do a fundraiser to raise $450,000 so that Medco could hire a full-time person, have more money available for marketing, develop their own website, and be able to spend a lot more time with the existing markets or the existing businesses, which is where really the majority of the job creation comes from.
Absolutely.
And then as well as talking about new businesses that need to come into town. So doing that on a part-time basis, we were not accomplishing a lot, but I think once we shifted things and hired a full-time person and got that fundraiser going, I think Medco has taken on a whole new life, and the city has benefited from that. So you've been on the board, you're still on the board, so
I'm still on the board.
you've been more involved in a lot of those changes since then.
Well, I applaud your efforts, especially. I think that's put us now, set Medco up a step. And now, boy, this year and the next 3, 4, 5 years are going to be, I think, we'll be involved in the community, and we're going to see some great strides in this.
Absolutely.
And one thing about dealing with economic development on a full-time basis is not only do you talk to new people that might want to come to town, not only do you work with existing businesses, but you also help create an attitude that is conducive to having all these things work, and helping to create a community that's business oriented, open to new ideas, not trying to stop development, and that's all part of the job that Medco does.
So I think you're seeing a lot of very good collaboration. I mean, the economic development that has happened in Marion is not going to happen without a strong city council as well.
And a partnership with the
and
city.
a partnership with the city. And it's a true partnership because they work very closely together to make the packages work, to talk to the businesses, to do some of the tiffing. And the city, you know, I'll give them a lot of credit. They've been very creative in doing some of the things with the Marion Enterprise Park.
Yes.
I mean, gosh, I remember when I was on the board, we put together a map, the first map of where all the development land in Marion was available. We put that together so that we could have at least a piece to hand out and try to show people where you could put a business. And you look at the number of acres available then and compare that to the number of acres available today, and it's just vastly different. I mean, it's exciting. All the places that businesses can locate in Marion, I mean, and it's shovel-ready ground. And there's not a lot of places in the state that have that. So, you know, I really tip my hat to what Medco has accomplished in the last several years, along with the city, and working together to do that.
It is a true partnership.